All right, how we feeling here on a Friday? We're about, 37 hours after, 38 hours, whenever it is, after the Sherrone Moore firing. As this happened Wednesday afternoon, and we're here on Friday morning. Let me know how you're feeling. Go down in the comments. Just let me know how you're feeling, because I'll tell you what, the truest thing I ever tweeted was Wednesday, uh, early evening, 2-3 hours after the Sherrone Moore news happened, and I tweeted, I'm going to my son's third grade basketball practice. I'm the head coach. I play with them. We use the coaches as defense. We use the coach on offense to kind of teach the kids. We run laps together. We play. I normally wear my Mays Michigan basketball shorts. Frankly, Jack, I didn't want to wear them. I thought it was too embarrassing. I thought the parents would be like, "Whoa, Michigan! Whoa, what's going on there?" Now, we're not in the same. We're down here in Dallas, and frankly, tomorrow they have Spirit Day on Fridays, Jack. You usually wear the school spirit of the elementary school or the high school, the school system, which is a red color, or you wear your favorite college or pro team. Preston almost always wears a Michigan t-shirt or a Donovan Edwards shirt or a Bryce Underwood jersey that got him. You know what? He's not doing that today here on Friday because it's just embarrassing. All right, well, our top story we're going to talk about here to start today's show is Bryce Underwood transfer rumors. There is some stuff out there. There's some things going on, and we are going to try and let you know fact versus fiction. Then I'm going to take a few of your questions and a little Michigan football mailbag on Sherrone Moore, Jim Harbaugh, and who could be the next Michigan football head coach. Let's go. The reason Bryce Underwood, I think, is, let's just say, 80 to 90% likely to be Michigan's quarterback next year and probably in 2027 is not because he absolutely wants to stay at Michigan or absolutely loves the program. Those things could be true, but that's not necessarily the reason why. Or he doesn't have anywhere that he wants to transfer necessarily. Is that the contract language that we have now seen at least snippets of screenshots of what he signed back in November and December of 2024 when he flipped from LSU to Michigan. Multi-year deal. From what we understand, it's a 2-year deal with a third-year big balloon payment and then a fourth-year even bigger balloon payment that Michigan and Underwood would have to choose from. So he could technically leave after his sophomore year, which maybe he would have done anyways if things didn't mature under the offense and the tutelage of Sherrone Moore. But for him to leave after this season, after 1 year in Ann Arbor, the people who put down millions of dollars, the upfront payments, the payments throughout this season, they didn't want to be stuck there, at the altar or jilted by an 18-year-old kid who plays 12 or 13 games, then high sales out of the town, takes a big upfront payment, a big payment for a year, takes half of that reported $11 or $12 million contract, and only plays 1 year. So the contract language stipulates that if he were to transfer out of Michigan before completing 2 seasons at the school, he will owe a buyout in the millions, right? In the millions, potentially multi-millions. $2.5 million is the rumor number. I have not seen that number. So if Bryce wants to transfer, let's say Lane Kiffin and LSU want to put together a package that matches Michigan. Well, somebody's got to come up with an extra $2.5 million. Somebody's got to come up with an extra $3 million. It could happen. I don't think it's going to happen, right? Because he is not a $4 or $5 million player based on what we saw on the field this year. This isn't, once Bryce Underwood to me right now is a luxury car that has a year of miles on it, right? You bought it. It was $150,000 pimped out Mercedes, whatever you want, and you pay. Someone's going to pay that money. Someone's going to put a lot of investment into that car. But for the next guy to buy it, there's baggage on it. There is miles. There's 15, 18,000 miles. It's got a little ding in the door. It's got a scratch on the side. Not worth as much money. Now, if he had performed or, if he didn't increase, if that car would increase in value for whatever reason, then would have made sense. Maybe someone like LSU would be willing to pay him $5 million a year. He could afford to pay half that in 2026 to get out of his Michigan contract, his buyout. But we understand there is likely the option that if it doesn't work out with whoever Michigan's next head coach is next year, he could leave for the 2027 season, and it wouldn't be as financial detrimental, but wouldn't necessarily have the upside, right? The deal goes up if he goes there the third year, goes there the fourth year. So he would have to prove it in the field, and then if someone wanted to have him transferred, they'd better come up with about $4.5 million if they wanted to have him as a junior in 2027. I've been crushing on Twitter, Jack. I've got about 450 followers, new followers since Wednesday afternoon. I've got 18,500 followers. Getting 450 in one day and a half is pretty good. So if you've yet to, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. It's at James Yoder. We're going to put it in the description of today's video. Help me fight the Ohio State fans. Help me fight the battles against the haters and losers. But frankly, I've been kind of a hater when it comes to Michigan football right now because I'm so disgraced. I'm kind of frankly disgusted at the litany of things that continue to happen. So if you can handle me ranting and raving, throwing a little shade at Michigan over the next few days until things kind of get cooled down and this coaching search gets kicked into high gear, go ahead and follow me. I promise you won't regret it. And if you do, money back guarantee. All right. Let's talk about some burning questions. We've got some questions from you, the YouTube audience, I just wanted to address, right? These are ones that are put in the comment section on Wednesdays and Thursdays videos. Let's take it here. A guy named Sean Dam. Thank you so much for watching, Sean. He says, there's a reason that Harbaugh didn't take Sherrone to the NFL. All right. It's time for Michigan to hire a great coach, make a clean break. No Brian Kelly. He is not good. They need to find a great coach as they have deep pockets. The question will be if they can go for a home run hire or settle for another Brady Hoke. Now, it's kind of interesting when you think about the NFL candidates, and one of the reasons why it was likely but didn't happen, that Jim Harbaugh could have been Michigan's coach back in 2010 going into the 2011 season, right? So January of 2011, after Rich Rod's third year, is that Michigan didn't fire Rich Rodriguez after the bowl game, or after the Ohio State game in November of 2010. They waited until after the blowout loss to Mississippi freaking State in the Gator Bowl, I think it was, which was on January 1st to January 2nd of that year. That was like on a Friday. Went through the weekend, had a meeting with Rich on Monday, went home, all over the internet, all over the news. Rich Rodriguez leaves meeting with the Michigan AD, comes back on Tuesday, and they have another meeting with him. And finally, he gets fired 5 or so days after Michigan's bowl loss, and that happened to coincide with the NFL season ending. So there might have been some people thought method to the madness. Dave Brandon, Michigan's former AD, kind of a disaster of an AD, former Michigan football player. But you thought maybe there's a madness. He's holding on to Rich to keep through the bowl game. They're going to play this game against Mississippi State. And then, oh, baby, the season ends. Jim Harbaugh coaches Stanford. There's NFL people, et cetera, et cetera. And we can get Harbaugh's in Stanford, the game Orange Bowl against Virginia Tech. They win. 3 days later, we hire him. He's the coach. But it didn't work out that way, right? Dave Brandon never had the ability to put enough of a sales pitch on Jim Harbaugh at that time. Now, what the disadvantage in here is for Michigan with why they might end up selling for a Brady Hoke is that most of the coaches you're going to want, the Kalen DeBoers of the world, hell, the Dan Lanning. I mean, that's a pie-in-the-sky candidate, but it's at least a candidate Michigan should offer him. It's Kirk Cignetti. They should make him say no, a $15 million a year package. They're playing in the college football playoff. They're very unlikely to leave their team before the game. I think, frankly, a guy who would leave his team when they're playing in 7-8 days from now, I wouldn't know if I want him as Michigan's coach, right? Because it's kind of like this, Jack. And I think that Sherrone Moore situation could kind of be an analogy here, is if she'll cheat with you, she'll cheat on you. If he'll cheat on his team with you, meaning if he'll talk behind his team's back, if Kalen DeBoer was going to talk behind Michigan's back for next week, get beat by Oklahoma because he wasn't focused, and then, want to either leave before the bowl game, let's just say, before that game, or, agree to a deal with Michigan, half-ass the game against Oklahoma, and then leave. I'm not sure if I want Kalen DeBoer because in 5 years, 3 years from now, I bet he'd do the same thing to Michigan to go take an NFL job or something like that. So the calendar is not working out great for Michigan right now from when the transfer portal starts, which I think we have some for that. It's January 2nd, right, Jack? 2nd through 16th. 15 days for the transfer portal opens up January 2nd through 16th. 15 days. And if you're going to want to lock up an NFL coach, he's not going to be able to hold on to this roster, not going to be able to sign anybody in the transfer portal. So I think Michigan's going to end up with a college coach. I think the top guys, Dan Lanning, Kirk Cignetti, in the playoffs, likely win a game or two. But Kirk Lee from Vanderbilt, he's not in the playoff. And, of course, what's his name? Jedd Fisch from Washington is not in the playoff as well. Guys, we've added about 500 subscribers in the last 36 to 40 hours. coming up on 37,000 subscribers. So if you appreciate Michigan football content, if you want to support what you're doing, it's free. Michigan football shows. Help us get 95 more subscribers today. It would really motivate us to continue on this video trek. This is our fifth video in a live and 4 on demand, Jack, since Wednesday afternoon. Lost in Space coming in with the next question. He's saying, why does everyone want DeBoer? He hasn't shown anything at Alabama. And he can lead for a national title contender. Neither is Jedd Fisch. Why for Bama is 19-8 unacceptable, but for Michigan it would be a home run hire for us. I don't know if it would be a home run hire, but I would say that for Kalen DeBoer is a very similar-ish record to Sherrone Moore. Had 4 losses last year, 3 in the regular season, 1 in a bowl game that maybe they just weren't into because they thought that they should be in the college football playoff. And then this year, 2 losses in the regular season, 10-2. Pretty good. Michigan would take that this year. And then a game against Georgia. But he's beat Georgia, okay? Can I explain it to you, Jack? Did I say he's beat Georgia State? Did I say he's beat Oklahoma State? Did I say he's beat somebody else? No, he's beat Georgia 2 out of the 3 times he's played them. Once at their house, once at his house. Lost to him in a rematch of the same team. Right? This is a coach who took Washington, not USC, not Oregon, Washington, who was a national power in the 70s, 80s, some 90s, won national title in 1991. But since like 2002 to when he got there was long stretches where Washington stunk right from the jump. They had a good record. Year 2, they went to the national title game and had probably the Heisman frontrunner for majority of the year. Had some injury things, didn't actually win the Heisman in Michael Penix. You look back to what got Indiana football on the map, go back to 2019 and such. He was the offensive coordinator at Indiana, parlayed that into a head coaching job at Fresno State, parlayed that into a head coaching job at Washington, and then now on to Alabama. He's got a proven track record. He runs an up-tempo offense, but most importantly, I feel he is a tough-minded coach. He takes defense seriously. He doesn't shy away. He's not a Lincoln Riley where, he's shying away. He's not a Ryan Day where he's shying away from that sort of thing. But most, one other thing I want to mention on DeBoer. With his quarterback play, I think it's very enticing to Bryce Underwood. I think he wants the Michigan job. I really do think that. It might not work out. They could beat Oklahoma. He might not want to walk away, but I would be happy if Kalen DeBoer was the next Michigan head coach. And this might be the most important thing. This might be, right? If you take Kalen DeBoer and you translate to Spanish, my son and daughter have had a Spanish-speaking nanny since they were born. They're both fluent in Spanish, Jack. I don't know if you knew that. Daughter's 3.5 years old, speaking Spanish. Kalen DeBoer literally translates in Spanish to man who does like Bo, right? DeBoer. The is like the, right? Kalen, that's man in Spanish, I believe. Something like that. It's a dialect of man. Man who does like Bo. Bo Schembechler, 21 years head coach, Michigan, 1969, 1989. Man who does like Bo. He's got DeBoer in his last name. I mean, that's pretty good, right? I don't know. I mean, it seems like it is inevitable to be the Michigan head coach. You know what's else inevitable? You guys getting a great deal on Michigan football gear. I'm still protesting. I'm wearing my plain blue shirt. I'm not wearing Michigan gear until I feel that this program is, damn it, on the right track. But get yourself a sale. The Michigan Q-Zip is available in small, medium, and large. Not available in XL, sold out. Not available in double XL, sold out. Small, medium, and large. I wear medium at 6 foot, 180, 185. I'm wearing a medium. Fits me absolutely perfect. It's amazing. Link is chatsports.com/MishQZip. Second paragraph of the description. Also got it multiple times down in the comments. Screenshot it, whatever you want. Don't wait, because I don't want you guys to say, gosh, James, where are those Q-Zips? That thing that's sale. Because I'll tell you what, Jack. Jack looks in our comments a lot. I wear gear on the show that we promoted a year ago. We promoted 6 months. I always see, where'd you get that hat? Where'd you get that shirt? I love that zip-up coat, James. And it's always these deals. It's always these deals. We're paying half price or less, and you can too. Get yourself a Michigan Q-Zip. It's the same one Dusty May wears in a lot of games, the best basketball team in the country. I think Michigan basketball, Jack, they ranked number 1 in the coaches poll, 2 in the AP. Michigan hockey, which ranked number 1. I think they might not drop to number 2 because they lost last week. That's the only thing keeping me going here with this Michigan Athletics. A football team, it makes me feel so bad, but I love this thing. Chatsports.com/MishQZip. William Wigson, like the name. What about Brian Griese? no head coaching experience, so that might be negative after what just happened. Now, I was an advocate of Griese being the Michigan offensive coordinator 1 year ago, right? I thought he would be a great choice. He's done well. He's an awesome with the San Francisco 49ers. He's been the quarterbacks coach for a few seasons. He's worked under, I don't know, the Kyle Shanahan, the QB guru, one of the top QB gurus in the NFL. But we talked to him. And Jack, I don't know if you remember this or even saw the video I took with him. It was funny. We put it on Twitter. I was trying to do a few of a gotcha things at Super Bowl Media Day a couple years ago in Vegas. It was the Chiefs. It was the 49ers. He was there. We talked to Ronnie Bell. I'm the guy. If you guys saw, this clip went kind of viral. I went up to Joey Bosa, right? That's the Bosa brother, Nick Bosa for the 49ers. I was like, Nick, James Yoder here. Do you feel any obligation or any pressure to win the Super Bowl for yourself, but most importantly for Ohio State, coming off Michigan's national championship and the fact that Michigan's dominated the series with Ohio State? Is that putting extra pressure on you as a Bosa? Also, do you understand that your initials mean beat Ohio State again? We've co-opted it. He laughed about it. I did the same thing with Brian Griese, Jack. If you're familiar, before you were born, 1997 national championships, Griese was kind of a 2-year partial starter, actually won the full job over Tom Brady, redshirt sophomore Tom Brady in 97. And he won the national championship. So I said to him, like, Brian, Coach Griese, be honest. Be honest. You're kind of rooting against Michigan. You were kind of rooting for Michigan. This is about 2-3 weeks after the game. I'm like, you were kind of rooting against Michigan in the national championship game because you didn't want J.J. McCarthy to get the love as a national championship quarterback. You wanted to be the only one. You wanted to keep that title as the only guy. He looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, what? Why would you say that? But I don't think the joke hit with him, but I thought it was funny for myself, so I made the joke. I'm like, I was just kidding about that. Of course, you were rooting for them. John Christopher, how many players are we going to lose? I think it depends on who the coach is, who's retained, and what that timeline looks like. I think Biff Poggi is a great interim coach because there's no player in that building that realistically thinks he's going to be the next head coach. And if he is, God help us. I think Biff's a great guy. I think he's a smart guy. I mean, he's made $100 million in his 30s running his own hedge fund and selling that. But 6-16 at Charlotte in 2 seasons. I think he's cut out as a high school coach and like a chief of staff like he's been for Sherrone Moore and for both Jim Harbaugh. But Michigan looked pretty damn good in those 2 games he coached. Bryce Underwood looked a hell of a lot better with him, in charge than he did Sherrone Moore. And so no Michigan players are going to be advocating for him to be the coach, right? Like, they don't expect that. So they're not going to be let down when he's not hired the coach. And frankly, the next coach, if he comes without the program, he would be probably well served if Michigan keeps anybody from the Harbaugh era to keep Biff around to kind of help the transition. Biff is probably in that building saying, look, they've entrusted me with your future, with the future of this program while we look for a coach. Stick around. See who the new coach is. If you're going to transfer, wait until January 15th. You got until January 16th. You got 5-6 weeks till you do that. Stick around. Let's win this bowl game against Texas. Let's put some good tape on you for if you do want to transfer. You get the best NIL deal you possibly can. But let's hire a coach. Maybe I stay around, maybe I don't. But give this next guy a chance. And then if you don't like what he has to say, go transfer. But they won't be disappointed if it was like this, Jack. Imagine Harbaugh would have left I don't know. Let's just say Michigan didn't make the national title in 2023. They lost in the semifinals. Harbaugh takes an NFL job the next day, and then Michigan's got like a 3-week, thing. If Sherrone was the interim, trying to get the job, players, we love Sherrone, and they gave it to somebody outside the program, I bet you had a ton of guys transfer, like Colston Love and another, because they wanted Sherrone to get the job. That's their offensive coordinator. That's not the case here. He is the best steward of this program I think you could possibly have, and I hope he actually stays. One of the few that I hope stick around. Dave Abloff, the media guy, all the people in and around this program. They just need to do a clean sweep, but I think Biff is one that can and should possibly stay. Gregory Martin, where we at on my script here? What about the GOAT, Brady? What about Woodson? Look, these guys have never been the coaches. This would be crazy. Tom Brady's supposed to be like the quasi head of football ops or something like that for, I don't know if it's official or not, but he's an announcer. He also is part owner of the Raiders, making decisions with John Spytek, another Michigan grad, former Michigan player. I think it'd be just absolutely insane for either one of those guys to be the coaches. I mean, if Charles Woodson wants to cut his teeth as an analyst for a year and then become the defensive backs coach, cool. But not now. From a coaching perspective, there's 2 guys that Michigan, I think, really needs to try and hold on to. I think one is Biff from just an operational perspective. I don't think it needs to be an on-field coach, but I do think that the Michigan running back coach needs to stick on as well. Came over from Ohio State, 2 seasons, Savion Hyder. I just don't think it would be a good look to get rid of him because I think you get potentially 1 or 2 running backs that leave with him as well. Who was the worst coach for Michigan? Which tenure was worse? Sherrone Moore's 2 years, taking over the national championship roster and losing 8 games so far. I'm not sure if this next game probably won't count against his record, of course, but you could have 9 losses in 2 seasons. Or Brady Hoke, 4 years, 11-2 in year 1, went to the Orange Bowl, beat Virginia Tech, and then it went down from there. 8-5, 7-6, 5-7. I don't know why I remember these records, Jack. I remember every single Michigan record. You give me a year, I'm not even joking. Give me a single year from 1990 going forward. I bet you I could tell you off the record. Let's try it. Give me a year. 98, Michigan went 9-3. They lost to Syracuse and Notre Dame to start the year, and then lost to Ohio State. Ohio State, broke a long streak of Michigan beating them that year, and then they won the bowl game against Arkansas. Give me one more year. 2007, that's an easy one. Started off the year ranked number 5 in the country, lost to Appalachian State, lost to Oregon the next week, beat Notre Dame, beat Penn State, won 8 straight games, lost to Wisconsin, lost to Ohio State. So 2 losses, 8 wins, 2 losses. Beat Florida, Urban Meyer, Heisman Trophy, Tim Tebow, 42-35 in the Capital One Bowl. One more year for the people, Jack. I swear we didn't prepare this. One more year. 1994 was a really interesting year for Michigan. One of the years that you kind of give them some Ohio State loss years. So they went, 95 to 67. So 4 losses that year. That was kind of the second year. Tied a game. Trying to think that they lost to Ohio State, lost to, oh my gosh, that's the year, the Hail Mary, Cordell Stewart Hail Mary. So Michigan went 9-4 that year, won the bowl game against, I believe, Auburn. Lost to Ohio State, kind of a rough year. It was a stretch of 4 straight 4-loss seasons in the 90s, Jack, and there was a Sports Illustrated headline. Does the M in Michigan stand for mediocre? Boom, won the national title that year. Guy, go ahead, next question. Gary Gaines. I am hearing talk that Michigan burned the bridges with the Harbaugh family because of how it was handled. Jim, can you confirm this rumor? I don't know. I never thought the Harbaugh family would cross paths in Michigan again. Jim has a show cause. He can't coach in college for a number of years. It's a long time. I thought Jay Harbaugh has really rounded into his role as an NFL special teams coordinator. I think he's kind of ripe for, I bet Jay Harbaugh gets an NFL head coaching job in the next 4 years. I bet he does the same thing as his uncle John, who is special teams coordinator for the Eagles. Man, this guy is sharp. He's not an offensive group, defensive group. He's just like a CEO type of a football organization and that. So I doubt Jay comes back, but I would welcome Jay to come back to be the head coach one day, not today. There's got to be at least 5, 7, 8 years in between them. If John Harbaugh, who was never associated with any of it, wants to come back and be the head coach of Michigan, I would do it. I would accept it. But I don't know. If it's anything, I bet it's a strained relationship with Ward Manuel, who as of late Thursday night is still being retained by Michigan, despite all the rumors that he would be fired on Thursday. Didn't happen. Now there's reports that he is going to see through the search, although that could change. Things can drop on any single given day. So I hope the Harbaugh relationship with Michigan is not deteriorated in any way. I hope Jim Harbaugh, whether it's next season, a bye week or beyond, comes back and helps Michigan actually find a head coach if they need to. Hell, if I was Ward Manuel, or if he's not making the decision, if I was someone at Michigan, I would call up and say, Jim, didn't fucking work out with Sherrone. It didn't work out. Who would you hire now? And, okay, cool. Maybe those suggestions are good, maybe they're not. But I also might say, Jim, would you be willing to interview him, right? Would you be willing to jump on the phone with this guy for 30 minutes and say, this is what the job at Michigan, if he's not a Michigan man, never been there, this is what the expectations are, this is what reality is, this is what you're going to get from the fans, the alumni, the support you're going to get, what you're not going to get. Make sure that whoever we hire does not come in with unrealistic expectations. Make sure they know the job, what needs to happen, and teach them, damn it, teach them how to win the press conference. It's so easy for these guys to win press conferences. Some of them come in and just completely blow it. Whoever's Michigan's next coach and needs to come in and say, not a Michigan guy. Okay, you know what? I have watched Michigan football for 30 years. I respect this program, and damn it, this is my program. We want to make some changes. But we're not going to tear this place down. We are standing on the shoulders of giants. I intend to embrace Michigan. I intend to be a Michigan man. We're going to work hard. We're going to be the toughest team you could ever imagine. Bo Schembechler is going to be proud of me. Lloyd Carr is going to be proud of me. Jim Harbaugh is going to be proud of me. And this entire Michigan fan base is going to be proud of the Michigan product we put on the field. I know, hail to the victors. I want to touch that M banner. This is a dream come true for me to be your next Michigan football coach. A coach goes in there, says those things, you win the interview. He half-asses it. He doesn't know. He can't do this. Rich Rod was the exact example of this, Jack. It was a disaster, and the coaching tenure turned out to be a disaster. Hope you enjoyed today's Michigan Football Report. Go Blue.